for anyone with simple, basic common sense, it is not hard to understand why public figures, government officials, people in the public eye are a little extra sensitive to any perceived threats right now. But that did not stop California Governor Gavin Newsom's crew of keyboard warriors from posting, quote, Kristi Noem is going to have a bad day today. You're welcome, America, on X on Saturday. It's inexplicable why people are so tone deaf. Every indication is the left has no intention of toning down this radical rhetoric. That post was immediately referred to the Secret Service for a threat assessment. And by the way, Kristi Noem has already been put in government housing because of threats. What some have perceived as a veiled threat was apparently some sort of sick, promotion for this bill that they signed out in California that pretends to ban law enforcement from wearing masks. What, so we can dox them and identify them so that bad people can find them? Let me give you some facts first. No state government has the authority over federal agents. We do have something called the Supremacy Clause. Border enforcement is under the jurisdiction of the federal government, not state governments. And this California bill wouldn't even take effect until January anyway. So it's all meaningless symbolism for a cheap headline. Now, as the Department of Homeland Security itself posted, this is all some pointless and random PR stunt coming at a time when threats against ICE agents have exploded by some 1,000%. As I said, Secretary Noem herself has already had to move into military housing at one point for her own safety and the safety of her family. It's got to stop. These are serious. These are dangerous times. You know what? And people do get triggered, and people, at times get indoctrinated. And when you dehumanize Nazi, fascist, racist, Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini, over time, people that may not be all there begin to take it to heart and may think they're doing God's will. Here with more, Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. Well, let's get your reaction to bad day for you.
Well, it was cryptic, and it was really menacing. I would say, Sean, it immediately panicked my family and friends. Within, I would say, a couple of minutes of that being posted, I started to get text messages and phone calls, family, my kids saying, are you okay, Mom? Are you fine? They know the threats that I've had. They know the threats that they've had, the things that have happened to them because of politicians like this that say things and somebody grabs onto them that has an agenda, the cartels and criminals that have threatened our family already. So when you get a post like that by a governor, immediately, my staff and family think, what is going on? What does he mean? And we're trying to figure it out. So, this is a day and age where we've always known that words matter, but there's been real consequences that we have realized that have happened to incredible people like Charlie that we'll have to live with forever. And I hope we all learn from that. I hope we all learn that it's time to start listening to each other, having civil discourse, and stop ridiculous, irresponsible posts like Governor Newsom put out there.
Okay, you and your family, you've had to move into military housing. Now, this bill, which doesn't become law until January, that the state of California is going to tell federal authorities, and they have jurisdiction, how and which ways they will enforce the laws of our country. I don't think that's going to fly. Your reaction?
No, it's not going to fly, Sean. And you've already mentioned that it's unconstitutional. So this was just something they could use to posture and attack our ICE law enforcement officers over again. And that's what's so irresponsible about it. Governor Newsom waited many, many days to even sign this into law, and like you said, wouldn't even be enforced until January, which means that it's pointless. It's just something that they want to talk about. I was a governor when I had a bill and a policy that I thought was very important for my people in the state of South Dakota. We put an emergency clause on it. We signed it into law as soon as possible. That means that Governor Newsom doesn't think this is important. He just wants to use this to raise money. He wants to use it to go out and try to make himself feel like a big deal, and he's doing it by attacking our law enforcement officers and making their lives more more dangerous. And every time I'm in a room with our law enforcement officers, I'm talking to them before they go out on our streets, I'm just overwhelmed by the fact that all of these young men and women have families, that they all want to go home to their families at night, too, and that people like Gavin Newsom are making it much more dangerous for them just to go do their jobs.
You know, I thought I knew Gavin. I really did. And I really expected more from him. I don't know why. He seems particularly tone deaf. This was 2 days after, you know, or a week after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a week and a couple of days after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It seems tone deaf. You have any message to the governor, anything? If he was on this show with you, what would you say to him?
You know, the first words that come to my head are grow up, but it's so much bigger than that, what he needs to do. We need a maturity and a seriousness and a gravity of the situation that we have here in this country right now to hit people and to make them realize that our country is better than this. It's better than posts like that. It's better than how he acts and the posturing, and that no amount of money he can raise for his political campaign, no amount of posturing to extremists and to activists is going to help make this life better for our kids and for our grandkids. So what we're doing here today and why we should get out of bed every single morning should be about what kind of a country our kids are going to live in, what kind of a country will our grandkids get. I know that's what makes me do my job every day. I just would hope that the rest of the country and people like him would recognize the importance of it.
All right, Secretary Noem, thank you, and please, you and your family stay safe. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.